girls are surfing the wave, surfing the crimson wave today.
Hi, my name is Zeba and I'm from Free Periods Canada. I'm inviting you to join our platform Charms, which connects people that are interested in learning more about menstrual health. Here you will find networking and volunteer opportunities. You can filter by location, expertise, and find people to collaborate with. You can also find grant and funding opportunities. Join our growing network to make period care more accessible.
That time of the month. Well, I woke up early and I got a hunch. Gonna head on down to the beach today. Surf all my girl props away. 'Cause all I wanna do is fly. Ask Mother Nature why? Listen to the cramps on my stereo. Turn it up as hard as it will go. Surfing the wave. All the girls are surfing the wave. Surfing the crimson wave today. Gonna call in sick to work, I don't care, my boss is a jerk. Can't believe all the pain I'm in. Give me white wine and Vicodin. Call my girls, see if they wanna go. Take their minds off dumbass world. So a scarlet letter on my bathing suit. 'Cause I've got sharks in hot pursuit. Surfing the wave. All the girls are surfing the wave. Surfing the crimson wave today. Surfing the wave. All the girls are surfing the wave. Surfing the crimson wave today. There are communists in the summer house. There are communists in the summer house. Offer them some primrose tea. If you need me, you know where I'll be. Surfing the wave. All the girls are surfing the wave. Surfing the crimson wave today.
Hi, my name is Zeba and I'm from Free Periods Canada. I'm inviting you to join our platform Charms, which connects people that are interested in learning more about menstrual health. Here you will find networking and volunteer opportunities. You can filter by location, expertise, and find people to collaborate with. You can also find grant and funding opportunities. Join our growing network to make period care more accessible.
Good afternoon. I want to begin by acknowledging that Indigenous peoples are the traditional guardians of this land that we call Canada. I believe that a land acknowledgement is an important but extremely small first step for non-Indigenous folks and settlers like myself and their organizations to undertake on the journey to true reconciliation. If you're not sure where to begin, or you want to learn more about the land that you are situated on, a resource that is highly recommended is native-land.ca. Where I'm situated today is the Haldimand Tract, which is located on the traditional territories of the Neutral, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. Waterloo region is on the Haldimand Track, and it encompasses 6 miles on either side of the Grand River. If you live or work in Waterloo region, I encourage you to learn about the many different organizations supporting Indigenous causes, specifically one that is very near and dear to my heart, landbackcamp.com. You can also find them on Facebook. And I'll finish by sharing a reflection about the importance of all the matriarchs in the world, but very specifically and importantly, the matriarchs from the different First Nations, Métis and Inuit, that have stewarded the land of Canada to get us to where we are today, despite the patriarchy and colonialism and genocide. And specifically all the women, two-spirit, women identifying and non-binary people who have worked to advance the rights of all women. And I'd ask you to reflect on your relationship with the land and the Indigenous matriarchs that have brought us here today. Thank you.
I don't know, can I be seen? I have my video turned on.
Jill, you're muted.
Well, I'll try that again. Sorry, I had a little issue with getting myself ready. Thank you, Kevin. For those of you who don't already know, Kevin and Changing the Flow are the best collaborators around when it comes to advocating for menstrual equity. Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Johnston. I'm the Advocacy Coordinator for Days for Girls Canada. Days for Girls has a global reputation for the amazing menstrual kits that we make. Our volunteers make them all over the world. And we're also famous for our outstanding menstrual health education. We provide it during our distributions worldwide. We are establishing successful DFG enterprises in many countries of the world where our kits have proven to be successful. In those countries, the enterprises make and distribute the kits, and they now provide employment and meet menstrual needs. At Days for Girls, menstrual health is what we do. In recent years, we have had great opportunities to begin working with other MH organizations in Canada to advance menstrual equity. And today is a perfect example. Days for Girls Canada is grateful to be collaborating with Changing the Flow to bring you another Share the Platform event. Thank you, Kevin, for the amazing advocacy you are helping us do and you are doing yourself. And that brings us to today's event. It's my pleasure to introduce Julia Curran. Julia is the Communications Officer for Days for Girls Canada, and she is the moderator for our panel today. Julia's first experience with Days for Girls Canada involved taking 300 menstrual kits from my Days for Girls team to Senegal. After her distributions there, she was hooked on the importance of menstrual health. She learned that nothing compares to the looks on the faces of menstruators when you teach them what their bodies are up to and hand them a beautiful solution for their menstrual health issues. Since Julia's return from Senegal 2 years ago, her determination to make a difference in the world of menstrual health has grown. She is a true advocate for menstrual health and the menstrual equity movement. Please welcome our moderator, Julia Curran.
Thanks so much, Jill. That was a beautiful introduction. And it's so true. Once you get involved with this amazing community, you just get hooked so easily. But hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for attending today's event. The name of this event is Menstrual Equity is Menstrual Health. And we have with us 2 amazing expert panelists that will be presenting. Katie Luciani, the Executive Director of the Endometriosis Network of Canada, and Vivila Liu, the Education and Outreach Manager of Shore Centre. There will be a period at the end of the event to ask questions. So if you think of one during their presentations, please write it in the Q&A feature. As I'm sure you all know, and it was mentioned in the chat a couple times, today is International Women's Day. So we are happy to be here with you all in celebration and wish you all a very happy Women's Day. This month, the month of March, is also Endometriosis Awareness Month, and a quite historic one too, since it is the first year being recognized and celebrated in Ontario. Let's all become more aware by kicking off with this short film.
I would vomit, I would pass out.
Dartmouth resident Chelsea Karwowski has known since she was 12. The intense pain she experienced every month wasn't normal.
Like someone's trying to claw your insides out of your body is the best way I can explain it.
And yet, not a single doctor diagnosed her with endometriosis until her mid-20s, and it was even longer before one took her seriously enough to recommend surgical treatment.
It's just what women have to go through. It can't be that bad, is what a lot of male doctors would say. It might get better if you have children.
Endometriosis is a medical condition in which cells similar to the lining of the uterus grow outside the uterus, often causing debilitating pain and infertility in some cases. But a new clinic opening at the IWK Health Centre in Halifax aims to ensure those patients are well cared for in the system. The first of its kind in Atlantic Canada, it will streamline services that are sometimes tough to access, integrating gynecology, anesthesia, physiotherapy, counseling, and more.
That will give them a more comprehensive approach to try and manage their chronic pelvic pain from all aspects of how it's affecting their quality of life, because that really is the goal of this clinic, is to improve patients' quality of life and give them tools so that they can continue to manage their chronic disease process once they've been discharged from the clinic as well.
I think it's phenomenal.
It's so severely needed. First off, just getting a diagnosis. Like I said, finding a doctor who's well educated in endometriosis takes so much legwork pre this clinic opening. So I'm constantly hearing stories of people who are falling through the gaps.
The new clinic is still in the process of recruiting specialists and is set to open this summer. Elizabeth McSheffrey, Global News, Halifax.
Now, Katie, welcome, and you may start your presentation now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Julia. My name is Katie Luciani. I am the Executive Director of the Endometriosis Network Canada. I'm also a patient myself, so I've lived with this disease basically since the age of 11. Is it possible to start my slideshow?
I think Kevin's just getting that ready.
Okay, perfect. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so like we were saying earlier, this month is a pretty special month for us specifically this year because it is the first officially recognized awareness month for endometriosis here in Ontario. And here's hoping in the years to come that all provinces in Canada officially recognize March as Endometriosis Awareness Month. So you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So a little bit about endometriosis, but you know, it's commonly referred to as endo. It's a common chronic inflammatory condition. It affects 1 in 10 women and unmeasured numbers of transgender and gender diverse people. Despite its prevalence, awareness of this disease and the effects that it has is low, both in the general public as well as in the medical professionals. Next slide, please. So endo occurs when tissue that's similar to the uterine lining grows elsewhere in the body. It's usually on the ligaments or the lining of the pelvis or organs of the on the organs of the pelvis, in the pelvis, sorry. And also it can be found outside of the pelvis. I believe Up until last year, it was not considered a whole body disease. The spleen was the only organ that it wasn't found on. And last year, it was actually found on the spleen. So now it is being referred to as a whole body disease because it does affect a lot of different parts of our body. Next slide, please. So symptoms of endo: pain, debilitating pain, period pain, but not just period pain, ovulation pain, painful sex, painful bladder symptoms, painful intestinal symptoms. There can be infertility or pregnancy loss. And there's also systemic issues as well, like chronic fatigue. Next slide, please. So getting a diagnosis can be challenging. Average diagnostic delay is 5 years, but in some cases it can take up to 20 years before you are officially diagnosed. There are no blood tests and imaging is often negative. And right now the gold standard for diagnosis is a laparoscopy surgery. Next slide, please. So in terms of treatment of endo, we believe that most patients benefit from a combination of medical, surgical, and natural. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our organization, the Endometriosis Network Canada. Our vision is to inspire hope by building an informed, compassionate, and strong community. Our values are to cultivate an inclusive community, to facilitate compassionate support, to enhance and encourage knowledge, and to honor the individual journey. Next slide, please. So this is just the main page of our website. I just want to talk to you a little about our role. We offer support and awareness. We were founded as a nonprofit in 2012 and became official registered charity in 2016. And we are actually celebrating our 10th anniversary this year. So it's very exciting. We are so happy to be here. We offer, twice a month virtual support groups for Toronto and Canada wide. Pre-pandemic, we used to have in-person support groups. We also do educational webinars and town hall meetings. We actually have a town hall meeting this evening. We have annual awareness events, such as the Endometriosis Network Canada's Run to End Endo and our virtual Endo March, which is also happening later this month. We have private online Facebook support groups, both for patients as well as support people, because we recognize that, endo also affects our support systems as well, the people that are with us every day witnessing what endo does to us. And we also have a great website with lots of great resources. We have a blog as well as a blog, and we offer wellness classes as well, like monthly restorative yoga. We've offered Qigong in the past, and we also do like more fun social events like baking classes as well. Next slide, please. I want to also take this chance to talk to you a little bit about EndoAct Canada. So it represents pan-Canadian expertise on endometriosis, and their mission is to improve the lives of people with endo in Canada by driving policy action that is grounded in science and also the needs of the endometriosis community. Right now, they have an amazing advocacy toolkit that's happening. If you were to click right on under that button there, Act Now, it has a whole template of how to guide you to find your local MP, and then a letter that you can just basically copy, add whatever you'd like to it, and send off to your MP to call in them to start this conversation and getting involved in endometriosis awareness, and ultimately to get a national action plan together to support our community. Next slide, please. So in terms of, if you'd like to know anything more about the Endometriosis Network Canada, you can check out our website, endometriosisnetwork.com, or you can contact us at info@endometriosisnetwork.ca. If you'd like to participate in EndoAct's advocacy campaign and reach out to your member of parliament, please visit endoact.ca. We really encourage anybody here, if they're interested, please get involved with the advocacy campaign. Also, you can follow us on social media. And in terms of upcoming events, we have a virtual town hall meeting this evening with Ontario Network of Endometriosis Surgeons. That's at 7 p.m. And our big virtual Endo March is on Saturday, March 26th from 1 to 3 p.m. And then I look forward to answering any questions during the Q&A period, either about the Endometriosis Network Canada or about my personal experience being an endo patient myself. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Thanks so much, Katie. That was a really informative presentation. And yeah, as Katie said, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A and we'll get to those after the presentations are done. And now if I could welcome Vivila Liu. Welcome, Vivila. Go ahead with your presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Vivila Liu and I'm from a place called Shore Center. It's located in Kitchener-Waterloo region. And our office is in downtown Kitchener, across the street of the market, the Kitchener market. So feel free to come by if you need any kind of like free sexual health supply. We do have free condoms. If you want to come by, just take some or just say hi to us. Yeah, we offer a lot of sexual health clinic services and also resources as well as sex education. So my position is to offer different offer and planning different kind of sex education program and also workshops. We serve all people. We serve people from all ages, gender, sexual orientation, ability, faith, culture, and ethnicities. Next slide, please. So today I want to talk about something about like how endometriosis is like related to sex education. So in general, like growing up, especially as someone with a uterus, like I don't know how many of you have been heard people as saying that like having period pain is actually normal, like something part of as someone growing up or just like living as someone with a uterus. But is period pain actually normal? As what Katie just said, like period pain is actually the most obvious and the most relevant symptom of endometriosis. So how is that really normal? Like how many people actually didn't get diagnosis by their symptom of having pain during menstruation? So that's related to what I want to like talk about, like how sex education is super related to endometriosis, no matter you have no matter you have endo or not, no matter you have a uterus or not. Next slide, please. So, oh yeah, next slide, please. I forgot to skip one. Yeah. So why do we actually need to be aware of endo? Like, I want to introduce one concept here. This is something called health literacy, like recently in academic, like starting research. Health literacy, like based on the words, it's literally just like knowing different kind of health situation, no matter that's like a disease or knowing about your body, like how your body works, how different kind of things gonna come together. So what does health literacy mean? So for this specific situation we're talking about, endometriosis, like it means early diagnosis actually. So my background is actually like I become a sex educator from doing YouTube video kind of thing on social media. So I was doing a lot of educational stuff around menstruation. And a lot of people, that was their first time when they saw my video. The first time they heard, okay, there is something called endo, that your uterus lining actually can grow everywhere from like in your body, inside your body, which is kind of scary. But as Katie just mentioned, it's actually 1 in 10 people. But a lot of people don't even know endo actually exists. And accepting like early diagnosis, like just by knowing there is a possibility if you're experiencing severe pain during your period, there is also like a lot of research showing that if you have a lot of health literacy, especially like for this case, you know a lot about your endometriosis and your own body, being aware of your health situation, being aware of this particular disease, you can actually decrease in the pain level people experiencing, because this means you will be able to pick in the better like coping mechanism for your own situation. And as we already like knowing that, like going into a doctor's office all the time like doesn't actually give you the best solution, because nobody is actually knowing the best about your body, not like yourself. And other than that, like knowing a lot about endo is also about advocacy. It's about literally just like going around to talk to people like, hey, like, do you know this? Oh, this is actually a thing in 1 in 10 people. Like, have you ever heard about that? It could be a really good conversation starter. Like I remember like my mentor, actually one was an intern at Shore, like she actually suffering from endo and she just started conversation like from a button. And suddenly like people just starting knowing that, hey, this is the thing. Like maybe I should tell my friends who's suffering from severe period pain and never actually went to the doctor for something. And that also means we will get more research and more funding for this particular symptom management and healthcare. A lot of people, well, like maybe you are not suffering from endo, but going into any industry, like maybe like when you go to any kind of funding organization, you end up saw a project about, okay, this is about endometriosis, and you are advertising, like you will tell all the other people in your community that this is actually super important because you know like how relevant it is and how severe people suffering from can experience things. Next slide, please. So that's what I have been, I wanna share with everyone about like what endo and why do we need to know about endo. And afterwards, like me and Katie will hold a panelist discussion. So feel free to ask any question. We have our social media listed here. Please feel free to search Shore Center on them. And if you have any other requests, feel free to get on our website or email us. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Viv. That was a really great presentation. You shared a lot of great insights about endometriosis. So yeah, now that the presentations have been shown, we have lots of time for questions. So you can write that in the chat if that's easier for you, but we have a Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. We do have Linda Burns shared some experiences and has a question if Katie or Viv, you have any insight to this. She said, if endo is similar to the uterine lining, what is it? Where does it come from? I had this condition at the age of 36 in 1988. I had a hysterectomy to get rid of it, but I don't understand how this helped, as now I am understanding the endo is outside of the uterus.
Hi. Okay, I can answer that to the best of my ability. So Linda, first of all, I am so sorry to hear that you have experienced endometriosis, and especially in 1988. I don't even, without the wealth and knowledge that the internet brings us and social media brings us, I couldn't even imagine the challenges that you faced trying to understand what was going on and where your pain was coming from during that time. So I'm sending you lots of love. In terms of what is it, it's still unknown. There's still that really speaks to the fact that there still needs to be so much more research, understanding, knowledge, to actually really understand what it is, why it's happening. We still want those answers. We still don't have those answers. I know that for a long time, and even probably still present time, doctors have suggested that a hysterectomy is going to cure endo, or having children is going to cure endo. All of these sort of narratives that we simply know from speaking with our community members that it's just not true. Some people can experience relief from having a hysterectomy, but it really just depends on where your endo is. So if your endo is, if you also have adenomyosis, which is basically endometriosis like inside the uterus, if you have your uterus removed, then yes, chances are you may have a decrease in pain when it comes to that. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people are being sort of led down the wrong path of thinking that hysterectomy is the answer or the cure, when at the end of the day it's not. And a lot of people end up having these kind of operations and afterwards still experiencing a lot of chronic pain, and it's still debilitating, and they find themselves even more confused because they've been sort of given that narrative this whole time, and now they're right back at the beginning of, okay, well, what's going on? Because I'm still in pain, and at the bottom, at the end of the day, I'm still suffering. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Very well put. Thanks, Katie. Do you have anything to add, Viv?
Yeah, so like uterus lining, just like menstruation, every month we will get the uterus lining like growing more, and then by the end of the cycle it will shed off, and then we will have our period. So when we are having endo, like depends on different people's situation, as Katie said, like everyone could be like have their uterus lining and they are growing like outside of their uterus or inside, like in the different places. Like in my experience, like not like my personal experience, like when I was talking to like one of my viewer, like this is actually the first time I heard about that. Like that was a time I'm not super endo acknowledged. This person tell me that she usually like have a lot of blood coming from her nose bleeding every time when she was in menstruation, like during her period. And then like I was like, she want to know, is that period related? At that time, I don't know much about endo, but somebody commented under her comment and saying that you should check out for endo, because sometimes like people have symptom of nose bleeding because their uterus lining ended up like growing somewhere like in their what you call it, like the whole way you breathing. I'm lost in that English term. Anyway, so endo could be anywhere. That's a scary part. That's why we need more research about it, and we need more treatment to know how we can manage this situation.
Wow, that's very interesting. I would have never thought that nosebleeds could be tied in with that. So it's good to know that, and it's good to raise that awareness. We have a question from Jen. What are your recommendations about how to get endometriosis diagnosed?
So basically you can go to our website, and we have a lot of great resources on how to advocate for yourself and sort of tips and tricks. I would say, first of all, you are in control of your body. You go to your doctor, you speak to them, and if you are not happy with how that went, you absolutely have the right to go and get a second opinion. I feel like a lot of us feel that once we go into our doctor's office and they give their statement or their sort of like what they think is going on, if you don't feel heard, if you don't feel validated, if you don't feel that that makes sense to you, you absolutely have all the right to go get a second opinion, even if it's going to a walk-in clinic and just asking to be sent to an endo specialist. We have a list of doctors on our website, and these are considered endo specialists that really only work on endometriosis patients. And so I think it's really, really important to have the proper team. And I say team because I don't think it's just one person. I think it's a huge collaboration of, an endo specialist. If you're having a lot of pain, perhaps you need to look into a pelvic floor physiotherapist, because they can do a lot of internal work on you. Whether it's like working with somebody with diet to help you to bring down some inflammation in your body. If you have to see, a urologist, or just making sure that you have a team, a therapist is really important too. Like living in pain has such a huge impact on your mental health that it really should go hand in hand, that we should also be getting help for the mental health aspects that come along with endo as well. So I would say also, I don't know, like with restrictions being lifted, I'm hoping that we'll be able to start bringing in support people with us to our appointments, because as someone who has endo, sometimes it can be really overwhelming to go to your doctor's office by yourself when there's so much going on. And if you've been sort of in this situation where you've been gaslit your whole life and made to feel that you can't trust a doctor's office, or it gives you anxiety just being there, having a support person with you is so crucial. Even just that second set of ears to listen. I can speak from personal experience that there's been so many times where I've gone to my doctor's office and just been so thrilled to be there and talk about everything that's been going on, that as soon as they start talking, I'm like in a different place. And then when I leave, I'm like, wow, what just happened? So having that second set of ears to listen, to take notes, or if you're not feeling comfortable speaking, having that person speak for you, you know, writing out a list of everything that's going on, tracking your symptoms, tracking what's going on, and being able to give that data to your doctor and say, look, something is up. This is what's going on with me. I need you to help advocate for me. We need to work on this together as a team versus, you know, just you on your own. I hope that helped answer your question.
Katie, I feel like we should really hold some kind of like webinar for, it's just called gaslighting in the doctor's office.
Yeah, that was a great answer. Thank you. And I really like how you pointed out the mental health aspect of it. I think that's so important because it can be exhausting just getting it diagnosed, and let alone what comes after that. But thank you for your insights. Viv, do you have anything else to add? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, just really stand up to yourself. Like literally, this is not endo. I have another thing called TMJ disorder. This is also really hard to diagnose as anything. Like I even have to like cry in the doctor's office, but also stay calm and tell him like, don't tell me like this is not working and that's the end of the treatment. I need you to tell me like what else could be possible. So really like stand up to yourself and tell people like what you need and change your doctor if this doctor is not getting you what you need.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Advocation for yourself is very important. So thanks for answering that question. The next question is, do the symptoms of endo decrease or disappear after menopause?
That's a good question. I can't really speak to that from like a medical professional background because I am not, but I can say that from our experience from the community and from what we've heard from people, I think that's part of the challenge of endo is that it just affects everybody so differently. And some people may experience less symptoms after menopause or during menopause, but some people may still continue to have pain well into menopause and after the menopausal period. So that's a really difficult one to answer. And I wish I had more facts for you, but from what we know from just our work with the community is that some people do still experience pain premenopausal and postmenopausal.
Thank you. And Viv, if you have anything to add? Okay. Our next question is, what can be done to further awareness?
So I think, you know, like I was talking about earlier, right now, EndoAct has that amazing advocacy campaign that's going on. And I really encourage everybody here today to go to the EndoAct website and to check out the toolkit that the EndoAct team has done an amazing job putting this toolkit together, and use those resources to reach out to your MPs and to really get that conversation going in the important places that it needs to be happening. It needs to be happening everywhere, in my opinion, but especially in levels like the government. They need to understand and truly know what the daily impact of endo is on our society as a whole. And also, I mean, if you want to get involved, the Endometriosis Network Canada is always looking for volunteers. So feel free to go to our website and reach out to us. We have a volunteer application on the website that you can fill out, and we always get back to our volunteers and find a way to bring them on our team and you know, work together. So there's many ways to get involved and to advocate. And I think right now, joining forces with EndoAct and sending those letters to your MPs is a really important step to getting the change that we really, really desperately need for endo care in Canada.
Yeah, thank you. And Kevin has actually linked the Shore Center Endometriosis Network and EndoAct links in the chat. So go ahead and check those out. And Viv, go ahead.
Yeah, and also just as another like interpersonal level, if you could talk to people just like, hey, like, do you know like period pain actually also means like this, that? Because not only endo, there are also like other different kind of like disease that is related to like period pain as a symptom for people to catch it. But because we often been told that period pain is normal, so we end up like ignoring, just like suffering, just like under the pain, like holding our water bottle and holding the hot drink and crying, like all those things, like take a Tylenol, but just like stop thinking that is normal. At least like talk to someone, talk to your family doctor when you like stop by doing the annual check, or just like have your appointment down, like see, hey, like, is this actually like normal or not? And also like start weekend educating our kids, like no matter what kind of like house topic we bringing up, like tell kids like this is something exists, and also tell them like, okay, your body could be working in this way. Your uterus lining can actually grow outside of uterus, which is a problem. Just like making sure people has more awareness, like this is happening, this is what our body could be doing. This is kind of like, it sounds really funny when I speak it out loud that we all have a body, but we basically knowing nothing about what's going on inside. That's what always happening with health education and sex education. So just like bring into the conversation level, like knowing this is something exists is already a really big start.
Right. Yeah, I think you're totally right. Even I don't ever remember learning about this in school or anything. So that's an important first step right along there. But thank you.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, I think that that's like a huge piece too, is like, it's not only like the education doesn't only need to happen for, you know, the medical community. I think that, you know, our teachers, like there's so many different levels where endometriosis awareness is really, really needed. And I think school is a huge one. I think back to my personal experience and the fact that, you know, guaranteed once a week, every single month, I missed school. I couldn't get out of bed. I was in like very bad pain, uncontrollably vomiting, you know what I mean? And if perhaps a teacher would have been informed about the symptoms of endo, maybe things would have looked differently if somebody would have spoken up and said, hey, let's check in on Katie. Why is she constantly missing school for a week every single month? There's got to be something going on there. But because, or even in like sex ed classes in high school, wouldn't it have been amazing to learn about, you know, these kind of conditions that affect us all as people? And then that also helps to bring down that diagnostic delay. If we start having these conversations and taking away the whole taboo idea of period talk or of sexual talk, like that's another angle too, is like painful sex is a very common symptom with endo, but where are there safe spaces to talk about A, having sex in general, and B, having painful sex? Like it's so taboo, and there's such this shame that's attached to that. And I really think that, you know, the future generation is going to do an amazing job of breaking down all of those barriers and making it more common talk that is not so, you know, taboo or shameful to speak about, or, you know. So I just wanted to add on to that there. Sorry for the little rant.
Did you mention like last time a lot of people don't diagnose this by menstrual pain, but until like they have sex, and people don't usually think having sex, having pain is something normal together. That's like the moment they end up going to get the diagnosis, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, it's good that people know that, and it is important to break the barrier and break the stigma so that it can be diagnosed earlier. So thank you for that. Our next question is endo hereditary? What can people do to be proactive about seeing if they have it?
So they don't know if it's hereditary. This is another one of those things where they don't know yet if it's officially hereditary or not. In terms of being proactive, knowing if they have it, if any of these symptoms sort of ring a bell with you or resonate with you, I think there's nothing wrong with reading up on endometriosis, educating yourself on the information and the knowledge, and moving forward with speaking to your healthcare practitioner and seeing if this is something that you need to look into further. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you. It was. Viv, do you have anything to add to that? No. Okay. I think we have a couple more questions. I was told that sex will make menstrual cramps less painful. Is this a myth or a fact?
I would say this is something like really depends on people. Like even having sex during period is not something like everyone would feel like okay during that period, during that time. But like from a sexual health perspective, if you do the cleaning, like make sure your hygiene, everything, like everyone is all cleaned up, like to do this and making sure like all the details you handle, like doing safer sex especially. So make sure you know all the detail. This is something definitely should be could be done during the period of time. But having the cramp to be like feeling like there's not that much pain is some shared experience a lot of people has been experienced during they have a lot of period pain. However, it really depends on people. The only like sign, like one of the only, not really the only one. Like one of the scientific explanation behind it might be because when you're having sex, you are making like more blood flow going through your pelvic floor. So we know like a lot of period pain, like the reason why behind it is that you actually have a lot of like a kind of hormone that is trying to push out your blood. So when you are having like more blood flow going on, like your body is already having the blood going out by having the blood flow going around, you're not having that much pain because the hormone is some kind of like being suppressed during the process. And a lot of people just like generally feeling better when your pelvic floor is like feeling more warm in general. Like that's why a lot of people are saying that if I'm holding a water bottle, like a glass bottle filled with hot water, I will be feeling better if I'm having a lot of period pain. So like it really depends on people, like how it would works for you the best.
Thank you for that explanation. Do you have anything to add, Katie? Nope. Okay. This question is, does nutrition play a part in mitigating the symptoms of endo or with pain management?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we think that the whole idea of like the combination of treatments are really important. And so there has been, a lot of talk about how this is an inflammatory disease. So trying to bring down the inflammation with the foods that we're eating could help to decrease pain. Again, this is another reason why endometriosis is so tricky and very much personal to the person that is living with that experience, because what works for one may not work for another. So some people in our community have spoken about, going down the anti-inflammatory diet path or like nutritional change path or going down a vegan path, and they've all experienced great symptom relief, whereas others don't really notice any changes with their symptoms. They may feel better from what they're choosing to eat, but in terms of their endo pain, it hasn't really reduced any of their pain. So I think it's really important to keep that in mind when you're thinking about those kind of treatment options, because the other thing too is some people become so focused on, I have to stick to this meal plan because it's helping my endo pain, when at the end of the day, you may be doing more damage to your mental health because you're really, really focusing on that versus finding the joy in a meal that makes you happy because you're in pain all day long. Look for the small things, like what's something that's going to make me happy, and being flexible, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So there is literature that does support nutrition in terms of like following an anti-inflammatory diet, but it's not, again, it's very personal to the person and what they experience and if it helps their symptoms and if it doesn't help their symptoms. It's sort of like going on a trial basis to see,
Right. Yeah, it's important to find out what kind of works for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also like for folks nowadays, medicine industry kind of like standardized the answer of relieving some kind of symptom. Like we would say, taking this medication, like you will feel better, like for like whatever cause, anything. Like often like it could be true, but like a lot of time, like again, going back to health literacy is not only like knowing what you're going through. It's also like knowing your own body, like what you have been experiencing. Like for you, like maybe like for you, like going vegan would be like taking off more joy in your life than just suffering from endo. Like, so it's really going back to the personal choices and considering what is important to yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any other conditions that go hand in hand with endo, such as cysts?
So there's comorbidities like interstitial cystitis, which is sort of like a bladder disease, a very painful bladder syndrome. There's, you know, some bowel comorbidities. Pelvic floor dysfunction is another one that we hear about very, very often. PCOS, so having cysts, PCOS, another one that is, you know, very commonly heard of in the community. I think if you go to our website, endometriosisnetwork.com, we have more information on that for sure. But that's pretty much all that I can speak to right now in terms of any other conditions.
Thank you, that was well put. Viv, do you have anything to add to that? No? Okay, I think we have time for one more question before we draw for the $50 gift cards. So this question is, do you or other organizations provide education to fertility clinics? It would be great if fertility clinics also expect clients to advocate, and so they know how to best support as a doctor.
Yeah, for sure. We don't, I mean, we don't work with fertility clinics per se, but we do know doctors that work at fertility clinics. We would love to provide resources to any clinic that really needs them. And I agree that really, again, this is what I was speaking to earlier, that I think awareness needs to be spread into all different areas of our society. And that also includes fertility clinics, because a lot of times the only reason people may find out that they have endo is because they're experiencing issues trying to get pregnant or carrying a pregnancy, and they have to go down the fertility route. And that's when the whole idea of, oh, maybe you have endo comes into play. And so I think that it's really important in this case that fertility clinics especially are properly educated on endometriosis and able to pick out those symptoms, and also able to disseminate proper information and accurate information, and offering support, or, you know, guiding people to where there is support, like the Endometriosis Network Canada with our virtual support groups and stuff like that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. Viv, did you have anything to add? No? All right, yeah, so those were all of our questions. It was very nice to hear from you guys, and thank you so much for answering those questions so well. We were very happy to have you. Now I'll give the floor to Kevin. He's going to be, or we will be drawing for the $50 gift cards and have some announcements, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much, and I'm going to refrain from using up screen time with this space, so you get audio only. And we have a fantastic person running the draw for us. So we're going to draw for two $50 gift cards for Changing the Flows online store, and our first winner, Priyanka. So I can hear you all clapping, and I love it. Priyanka, congratulations. We will send out emails to get you hooked up with the card, and we're going to draw for a second one. And then I'm going to share a couple of tidbits of info and say a few words. So Anna is our other winner. So Anna and Priyanka, congrats. You'll get emails. Everybody else, don't leave. We're going to, you're still not going to see me. Just gonna put this up so we can see something. And I'm going to share a couple of things. First of all, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Viv, and thank you, Katie, for your time and the conversation. And I think a broader thank you to every single person that's here, the volunteers that have helped us behind the scenes, as well as each and every one of you who took time to come and listen. And it is making a difference. It is at the same time maddeningly and frustratingly and disgusting how slow the progress is in some cases. That is the fault of a system that is bigger than all of us, but that you and the work everybody is doing are going to overcome. And so keep doing it, keep advocating, keep asking the questions, keep listening. And most importantly, thank you so much to each and every one of the speakers for creating this safe space and sharing. You are empowering people and you're changing lives for the good. Thank you. Big thank you to Red Dot Project, Days for Girls Canada, who worked with Changing the Flow to make this Share the Platform event happen. Red Dot Project in particular has an event coming up at the end of March, so please follow them on Instagram or on social. I'm going to drop the links in the chat. It's Red Dot Project Toronto. They're a great partner in the menstrual equity realm in Canada, along with our great friends at Days for Girls Canada. I'm going to drop another link without saying much about it. Two more actually. One is a Calendly link. That is if you want to get in touch with Changing the Flow to talk about how can you get period products in your office, in your workplace, in your school, in your house. Our belief is that every single washroom in Canada should have period products. If there's toilet paper there, there should be period products. That's our view, that's our goal, that's our vision. If you want help with figuring out how to do that in your organization, big or small, or you just want to get something in your house, reach out to set something up. And on that related note, I'm dropping a separate link about a brand new project that features artists from the Waterloo Region community. And the first two boxes have been released this week, both created by Black artists in Waterloo Region. They are absolutely stunning. We have an opportunity to get a quantity of them out for free within the community. So watch for them, but I'll drop a link where you can get info on that. And our next event, that's the big announcement, because we want you to sign up for that because you can get more cool stuff. Our next event is May 10th. I'm going to drop that link in the chat. So everything's happening in the chat. And go sign up. You got a couple days to sign up early so you can get a bonus, but it's happening May 10th. It's going to be wicked cool because we are going to bring together several amazing organizations across Canada and really highlighting the menstrual equity work that they are doing for the month of May, leading up to Menstrual Health / Menstrual Hygiene Day on May 28th. And a sneak peek, one of the cool things is called menstruation. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to drop all those links, and I'm passing I think that's it. Oh my goodness. I think I'm passing us off to some music. Stick around to give me a minute to get the stuff in the chat. And thank you so much, everybody.
the crimson wave today.
Hi, my name is Zeba and I'm from Free Periods Canada. I'm inviting you to join our platform Charms, which connects people that are interested in learning more about menstrual health. Here you will find networking and volunteer opportunities. You can filter by location, expertise, and find people to collaborate with. You can also find grant and funding opportunities. Join our growing network to make period care more accessible.
Thanks once again, everybody. Really, really appreciate everybody that was here. We will close the webinar. A recording will be available and we'll send you a follow-up email. Happy IWD. You guys are great.